Welcome to another episode of Trust the Process with Martin Dugai. In this episode, we have the privilege of sitting down with Sam, a client of ours who took a leap of faith and committed to his own well-being by joining our online coaching program. Sam had battled with self-doubt and lack of confidence for some time, unsure if he could ever achieve the body transformation he desired. His journey was further complicated by a challenging hernia operation that initially left him in a world of pain and uncertainty. Despite these obstacles, Sam made the courageous decision to take control of his health and future. After a pivotal conversation with myself, he embarked on a transformative journey that would push him beyond his limits and redefine his beliefs in what he could achieve. Fast forward 5 months, and Sam has defied the odds by shedding an impressive 40 pounds of body fat, unveiling a lean, muscular physique that he once thought was out of reach. Through dedication, hard work, discipline, and commitment, Sam has not only transformed his body, but he has also transformed his mind and reclaimed his confidence and self-belief in the process. Join us in this episode as we delve into Sam's inspiring story. Discover how he overcame his doubts and fears to emerge stronger, healthier, and more empowered than ever before. Sam's journey is a true testament to the power of perseverance and trusting the process. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, mate.
Nice to see you, buddy. So,
Nice to see you.
For everybody out there listening, watching, you have just finished 5 months of a body transformation. Well, it's a six months program that you signed up, but we're kind of peaking a bit early here. Yeah. So it's month 5, pretty much this coming Monday, right?
Yeah, yep, this Monday.
I just want to take everybody on, on your journey and your experience and how you found everything. So if we go all the way back to the beginning, which was like we spoke for the first time, it was, I think, December 2023, right?
It was, yeah. It was just before Christmas.
Correct. So we had a strategy call. We had a great chat, by the way. I think it was like, as we were saying before, over an hour.
Yeah, I think I chewed your ear off for probably near an hour and a half. So apologies for that.
No, it was a great call.
But yeah, it was great. It was great for me because it really cemented for me the things that I was looking for from a trainer and from a program and from myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't tell you how valuable that was for me and
awesome.
Key in me making my decision, like a key factor in it, hands down.
Amazing. That's really good to know. So how did you, let's just go all the way back. How did you hear about me and how did you find out about
you? So I first heard about you a good few years ago now. So my old boss, Mark Crumpy.
Oh yeah.
He did your program.
Yes.
And I think that was maybe
2022, I think, yeah.
Maybe. I had 22 in my head, but
amazing.
I'm not great with dates, but honestly, his transformation was amazing. I remember when he posted it, and I was just like, "Wow, Crumpy, this is unreal." And Crumpy's in his 50s.
Yeah, he was. I think he was approaching 50, or was 50, or approaching 51. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he was bang on 50, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't then, he was just like you say, just kind of entering into it. And I was just floored, mate. I was super chuffed for him, obviously as a pal, but just impressed overall with what he'd achieved. And I was just like, that is amazing. That is unreal. And I must have filed that away in my brain somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so Jason.
Yeah.
Another guy that I used to work with. Shout out to all the West End theatre community.
Yeah, so for people out there, so you guys were all in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, so we all worked in the West End together, which was, and it still is lots of hours, antisocial times, trying to fit things in. It can be crazy, but that was a lifetime ago. But yeah, so Jason, I saw that Jason had done your program and then joined you as a trainer. So come on as staff. and I must have been getting like reels, or the algorithm must have tapped into something because. So I turned 40 back at the end of, where are we now? 24. So 2022.
Yep.
I turned 40 in the October. In the November, I was going in for surgery, which was meant to be like a routine kind of, you'll be out of action for a couple of weeks, and within a couple of months, you can get back to life as normal. And for me, that looked like jiu-jitsu a few times a week. I was training for my black belt. I was doing gymnastics as well. So like at least 3 sessions a week between the two. So I was pretty active. And then went in for surgery. I mean, I know the NHS are overworked and understaffed and underpaid, but it didn't go well.
Not at all.
Not at all.
What I
no.
remember, mate.
It didn't go well, we'll say. And if anything, it left me worse than before I went in. So a lot of back and forth. It kind of like took me out of action for the better part of 6 months, and then I had to have reparatory. I had to have my surgery repaired. So they had to go in, rectify what they'd messed up.
Do you mind sharing what the?
Yeah, no, sure, that's fine. So
right?
I had like a double hernia.
Yeah,
double hernia. The first surgery was keyhole. And they basically messed up with the mesh, and so like one side failed, the other side, whatever they did to it, they basically stitched it in and managed to get.
You don't have to go into full details do you know what I mean, but
yeah,
it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. We'll say that. But yeah, so I had to, it kind of like 6 months of backwards and forwards with the NHS trying to get them to fix it, whilst being kind of like in chronic pain. And then eventually it was just taking so long, and I just lost all faith that I was fortunate enough to get to go private, thankfully, through work, because I would in no way be able to afford it myself. But again, so like they went in, I had to have open surgery. So it was a lot more invasive, a lot more kind of brutal. And again, it wasn't just repairing the hernia. It was kind of like trying to fix all that they'd fucked up before. Excuse my French.
Yeah, that's all right. You can,
yeah. So again, that was me out for another 6 months. So basically, for a whole year, I was sedentary. Like a few years before that, I'd retrained. So I left theatre and events, and I'd retrained as a graphic designer, which I love. But it meant that my daily like kind of like 9 hours plus was sat at a desk, hunched over a screen, like trying to check the pixels. And so I went from kind of like running around 6 days a week, like climbing rigs, doing all sorts, to just kind of like being sat at a desk for 9+ hours every day, 5 days a week, and then sometimes at the weekend if I was doing freelance work. And I noticed a massive change, and that, I think the one year out that I took, I just felt like I hit 40 and it all went to shit basically. And so towards the end of that first year, I'd kind of got the sign off from my surgeons that I could go back to training for jiu-jitsu, like obviously tentatively, because like I said, I was training for my black belt. So like the intensity, the frequency, like all of it, it's hardcore. Like if I could show you the bruises up my legs and up my arms, I would. But I just felt like I had, back to life as normal after a few weeks turned into this year of absolute hell. And I felt like if I don't do something about it now, this is going to be it. This is going to be what I'm left with. Like, so for me, it wasn't just a case of like, you know, I want to lose a bit of weight. I want to pack on a bit of muscle, which, I would love to do all of that stuff. But like one of the main driving forces for me was I want to future-proof myself. Like, I want to do the best that I possibly can to make sure that I don't have anything like this again. And also to kind of get back or surpass like a state that I was in before I went in for the surgeries.
Yeah.
Like I say, so I was doing gymnastics, I was doing jiu-jitsu. I was never really a gym bod. Like I'd been, like everyone does, you know, like you dabble, you do bits and pieces, but not anything worthwhile really. And that was another one of my concerns really, because I was like, you know, I'm not a gym boy. Like, am I just gonna absolutely fucking hate it? But the drive and the desire for me to kind of write whatever the car crash was that I was left with, or do the best I can with it, before what I felt would be kind of like too late to get it back. Is I guess what led me to send. I remember now having said that. So Jason, I think, must have posted a reel about people like looking, if people were looking or interested, and I was like, do you know what? I've got all this going on in my head. I've just seen the post. It's from Jason, who I know, and Crumpy's also done the same program. These are people that I know, that I trust. They're not just some random guy on Instagram telling me why I need to do X, Y, Z and eat ABC. Like, if you're going to tell me it's worth my while, I'm going to listen. So I reached out to Jason. I think I sent him a message on Instagram, and we kind of had a little chat. And then I think that's when he was like, "Oh, we'll sign up for your, just, you know, like drop us a line and sign up for your initial call with yourself." And I remember thinking back now, like, I was not nervous, but I was just like, I have absolutely no idea what it's going to be like, how I'm going to feel about it. Is it going to be for me? What am I doing? Am I signing up for something that? Do you know what I mean? Not like
what to expect.
Like, you know, like obviously I don't think I'm part of any pyramid scheme or anything, but
but no, you're absolutely right. You don't know me. Yes, you know Jason, you know Crumpy, right? But you didn't know me. You didn't know what to expect, what the program was, etc., what it entails, involves, etc. So
no. But I at least felt that there is some base level of trust there. In what you were doing and what the program was, because like I say, these two people that I know, have worked with and trust and are friends with, have done it themselves and achieved amazing things. And not only done it themselves, Jason's now on the payroll. So, like, and again, right, it's only that first step. So it was that was the whole point for me to kind of talk to you to find out whether I would be a good fit. And you said as much to me on the day. You were like, it's not just about whether, it's about whether we fit. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to work with people that you don't think are going to be right for it. That you know, you're not going to let people I don't want to say throw their money away, because it's not throwing your money away, but you've got to have, and you said it to me, it's like, I want to know what your reasons are. I want to know why you're bothering, because unless you've got that, to quote, fire lit under your arse, you're not gonna achieve the things I know that you're capable of, is what you said to me. And I do think that for me going into it, one of the things that was my biggest concern was me, because I know what I'm like, right? Like, I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty chill. And people have said to me before, like, you're so laid back, you're practically horizontal. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That is 100% accurate. But I also feel like that as you know, like, as good a thing as that can be sometimes, I feel like that can be a detriment.
Yeah.
And I doubted myself. I was the biggest doubt I had. Like, I felt like, of all the things, like, you know, you can give me an exercise regime, you can tell me what macros I need to eat, but I'm the weak link. If I don't do these things, or if I am like, then what's the point?
Yeah.
And I didn't have the belief, or I didn't have the 100% conviction that I could or would. And I think one of the things that this process has taught me is that actually I need to give myself a bit more, I don't know, the benefit of the doubt, really, because I've proven to myself, even when I may not feel like I necessarily have done the best that I can do, whether I think it or not, the results speak for themselves. So I might think, oh no, I could have done better, but like, I've done pretty damn well. So
Right. I think you nailed it on the head, because I do remember our conversation very, very well. And you're right, your biggest doubt was you. I knew 100% what we can achieve. And do you know what? Like, you're right. Like, we have to be the right fit for each other. Not everybody's going to be right for that particular thing. Not everybody is going to fit personality-wise. Not everybody is going to have all the necessary ingredients, so to speak, to be able to achieve what they want to achieve. Like, I'm looking for certain things. And I knew that you have it all. That doubt, the lack of self-confidence, because ultimately that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
Is something that majority of people struggle with. Hence, they need help. They need a helping hand in order to get from where they are to where they want to be. So you nailed it. And also, going into it, like, your why has to be so strong, because that is the thing that is going to keep moving the needle forward. Yes, we're there. We give you the accountability. You know, we're there to support you, etc. But you're right. Like, if you don't feel like you want or can do it, man, it's hard. It's game over. Sometimes it's game over. It's like, well, I don't have that fire under my ass, like you said. So
like,
why would I bother? Yeah, exactly. So I think you're absolutely right. It has to be there. So what was your fire under your ass?
So there were a lot of factors for me. So, like I say, my health was a main one. Like, I'd never had like any bones about turning 40 or getting older. I've never been one of those people. Like, doesn't bother me at all. It just seemed to be that when it happened, like, literally 40 happened, and then like the floor fell out from under me, and it just all went to shit. And I was like, fucking hell. So that was, and I was like, I do not want to feel like this or stay in this place. Like, I want to get out of it. I want to get beyond it. I want to be like, I don't even want to get back to where I was. I want to be better than where I left it.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to do it, fuck it, let's do it properly. Let's go all in.
I like it. Yeah.
So that was a massive one for me. I think just the commitment as well, like, you know, time, financially, socially, because I knew it was going to be tough. Like, I absolutely love a pint with my pals.
We'll touch on that later.
Yeah, but, you know, when we talked, I knew it was going to be a case of I am going to have to make sacrifices, but I have to decide what is important for me and to me. And right now, it has to be me. And I think that was it. And I think that's one of the things that has kind of like kept me strong throughout. Like, and I'm not gonna claim to be like, you know, A+ student when it comes to the program. Like, yeah, I've had my days. Some were planned. You know, like we were able to work around stuff, and if I knew I had things coming up, like we sat down together and we talked about it, and you know, we played with a bit here and there just to make it
fit your lifestyle, I
fit
suppose.
my life. Exactly that, mate. Exactly that. Because that was important to me as well. Like, I didn't want to think that I would be spending 6 months living like a hermit, not seeing my pals, not, you know, not being able to be a part of it. Like, I'd already felt like I'd missed out so much having been off that last year that I didn't want to then spend another 6 months not being able to do it.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like counterintuitive to why I was signing up for it in the first place. One of the reasons, anyway. But yeah, like it was like an investment, like in all the ways I can mean that. But like anything, right? There's you have to put. Sometimes you just have to go all in.
Yeah, 1
like,
million percent.
All in, everything on black. Go, and take a punt.
100.
And that's kind of what I felt like I needed to do, because just at that point I was like, I don't really have anything else. I don't have anywhere else to go, or other than up.
Yeah.
Right? So just invest everything I can in myself, in the program, in, you know, my future, like all of it. I was like, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But
I think you completely right here. You sometimes have to, especially when it comes to your health and, you know, improving yourself. When you're at that point where, like you said, floor is just like disappeared from under your feet, and you feel like, shit, what am I doing? And all these things that happened to you prior. I think you then have to really face the music and go like, yeah, I'm all in. I'm either all in or I'm not in at all, because you can't be half in.
half.
Yeah, you can't just dip your toe and go, actually, it's not for me. Like, that's why I have these calls with people. It's like, why do you want to do this? This is so important. Like, you have to have, not only you have to have a really clear goal of what it is that you want, but also like to back it up with multiple reasons for wanting to achieve that. Like, you have to have why behind why. Like, you have to have that purpose, because otherwise it's just like waste of money, waste of time, you know, and a lot of disappointment. And it's like, you know, people starting diets. They jump in on the deep end, 0 to 100 in the first month. Yeah, they lose a bunch of weight, but they hit a wall, they hit a plateau, they don't know what to do, information overwhelm, they are so restricted, and they're like, okay, what do I do from here? And it's usually faced with like disappointment, self-doubt. They start blaming themselves, the genetics, or it didn't work for me because, you know, I'm this isolated case or whatever. No, it's like you didn't know exactly what it was that you want to achieve to start with. It wasn't a plan that was reverse engineered. Like, the goal wasn't clear. You didn't know why you were doing it. It's like, yeah, you ended up in this place, and that cycle then usually continues. People wait 6 to 12 months. January 1st comes in, and they're like, okay, I'm committed. This time I'm going to do it. Well, you were committed last time, but you just hit the wall and you didn't know what to do. You didn't have the knowledge, you didn't have the accountability, you didn't have the process, you didn't have the structure, none of those things. And that's something that you need to have. And also, like you said, financially, you have to be committed. And this is the part where, like I always say, that's you know, that's the piece that a lot of people are missing. You have to have skin in the game.
Yeah.
Because you've paid, you are now committed not only to yourself, you've paid for it, but you also committed to your coaches, to the program. You know exactly that if you put the work in, you will achieve what you want to achieve.
I think as well, like you just said, about the commitment. You said you're committed to the coaches and to the program, and I think for me that was one of the draws as well. I felt like I needed the accountability. Because as I said to you before, like if I'm depending on myself, then I might be lenient and I might barter with myself and be like, you can have that one pint, it's fine. And not that you can't have a pint, but like you have to make the choice, the decision, what is gonna wash for you. Like if you have that pint, fine, have that pint. But there will be a repercussion, there will be a consequence to that. Like you know.
This is so true, man. You hit it on the neck. Because I always say, you know, I have people that come to us and I have a call with them and they're like, I need a coach who's going to kick my ass, you know, like I'm not that person. I'm not here to tell you every single day, move your ass, go to the gym or whatever. Like that's not my job as a coach. My job as a coach is to make you understand exactly what is it that you want to achieve, your goal. My job as a coach is to make you realize and understand what your purpose and your reason and your why is, give you the accountability, be here to support you, not judge you, but help you and support you, and make you realize that every decision that you make as an adult is going to have a consequence moving forward. And what you have to realize is if you decide to make a decision, you have to be aware of the consequences. And if you are okay with the potential negative effects of that decision and the potential negative consequences, that's absolutely fine. You go and you do that. But do not come to us and say, well, I've had few pints, I had a pizza, I had burgers, I got wasted, etc. Why is my weight not moving?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, we all adults. Like I said, I'm not here to, you know, babysit you. I'm here to genuinely help you, give you advice, accountability, support, information, knowledge, all of that. But at the end of the day, like you do this because you want to achieve this for a particular reason.
And I think that was it for me. Like, so like you were saying, I do not want someone that's going to be shouting in my ear roll. Like I am a carrot over a stick every time, like a bit of gentle encouragement. That's works for me. And I felt that when I was talking to you, but I also knew that it wasn't just I'm just going to, you know, blow smoke up your ass and tell you you're doing amazingly. No, you are going to be held accountable, which is what I knew I needed. But also, I'm not going to tell you off if you fuck up, Sam. Yeah. Like, it's like, if you go out and have a pint, if you go out and have a burger, that's fine. Factor it into your macros as best you can. But if you go over, you're a grown man. You can make your own choices, but you need to be comfortable with the outcome of those choices. And I think that was also a good thing for me, because it was like I then was able to kind of like manage it myself. Like if ever there was any doubts or questions, you know, like I would just ping you a message in the app and you boys were super quick to respond. And it was always like, I never felt like a dickhead for asking questions. I was just like, because I had no base of kind of knowledge or experience about macros. No, not a clue. So like going through that whole process, coming to understand what they are, what they make up, like why we need X, Y, and Z. Like, and you said to me on the call in the very beginning, you were like, it's as much about educating you as it is about the end result, because we don't just want to be like, you need to eat this, and this every day. It's like, here are your macros. You can work it out, choose what you want to eat. And then over the course of the program, you start to understand the choices that you're making. And like my mate laughs at me because like, I'm always like, there's 5 grams of fat in an egg yolk. I'm not having that. But like, just little things like that have like seeped into my brain that are just there now, that I would never have paid any attention to or even considered before. But you know, like there were times, and I as I said before, you know, like we worked together to kind of, and I had to make sure that they were really important things to me. If I'm gonna kind of veer off, they need to be important. I need to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And just accept it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And that's the trade-off. And there were a couple of times when I did do that. I remember I had a roast dinner that I'd had planned for a few months before I signed up with some pals. We all got together because we hadn't seen each other for ages. And I knew that I had that booked in before I started the program. And I remember speaking to you and Jason and being like, look, I don't want to miss this. I do want to go, but you know, what can I do? And we sat down together and we were like, look, right, you know, try and make as many intelligent choices as you can. Maybe we can shave off a bit of fat here for a few days, maybe a little bit after. We don't want to do that every day because otherwise what's the point? You want to sustain like regular levels, like so your body knows what it's doing, so it doesn't go like so little things like that I wouldn't have even considered before, like, you know, like we were talking about how things affect your hormones and stuff, like, you know. And I went away with the in-laws to Paris for the weekend, and just little things like that. Like, I don't want to go to Paris where like the bread and the cheese is, and be like, no, I'm just gonna have like you know. So, but again, like that was the choice I had to make, and I was okay with that because it was like I felt like I knew what I was doing. I felt like I was armed with the information to make better choices. Where I could, I did. And I, you know, I was still doing my in my tiny little Airbnb kind of like 4 foot nothing room. I was doing like, we had like the body weight workouts on the app, and I was getting in as many of those as I could. Like, we walked the length and breadth of Paris, so like I definitely got my steps in. So just, you know, like little kind of, I don't want to say concessions because it makes it sound like, again, like I'm bartering with myself, but it is that kind of thing of, well, you have to balance those books
100%
in your brain.
Do you know what's important? What's interesting is, like, I always say to people, because like you know, almost everybody across the board that I speak on like strategy calls, like, okay, well, the obstacles, you know, I've got wedding in like 3 months, I've got holidays, I was like, listen, one thing I can guarantee you right now is that life is going to get in the way, always.
Yeah, don't stop.
It's like there's never going to be an ideal time to start something like that. Because nobody these days, I'm pretty sure nobody has like 6 months of zero commitment. There's always going to be something. The whole point of it is that you go through life and through those situations so that you can learn how to navigate and strategize and actually take part, still enjoy it, come out, gain confidence, be comfortable in those situations, and achieve results and make progress. Like, that's the whole point. So if anything, I always encourage people to go, listen, the period that you're going into, if it's so busy, this is the right time to actually join, because you're not only going to make progress, but you also have us in your corner to give you that accountability, help, support. If you're going on a business trip, we'll help you. If you go into a wedding, we'll help you. If you have social life, we'll help you around that. Like, that's how you learn and gain experience, so that when you finish the program, you are armed with the knowledge and experience and understanding to go away and comfortably navigate through those situations for the rest of your life. Like, that's the whole point. So,
and I feel like I have
Yeah.
gained that. Like I said, you know, I had no clue. And that, you know, I'm not claiming to be an expert now, but like I've got more of an understanding.
Yeah.
Like, and also not just an understanding, but like sometimes these things can feel like they are too big and broad to grasp, so you don't even try.
Yeah.
And again, that was another way for me. Like, I was like, no, I won't get it. I won't understand it. I won't. And like, osmosis, I guess. You absorb it, you soak it up. You don't even realise you're doing it, right? So yeah, I definitely feel like the education part of it has been as much of a gain and a boon to me.
Amazing.
As the actual physical transformation.
Yeah. I'm so happy. I'm super proud of you, man, because like I know that going into it you had a lot of like mental battles with yourself, and like you said, you were your own worst enemy, right?
Yeah.
But you pulled the trigger. So we had a first call, and then you signed up right after Christmas, right? I think January 7th or 8th, something like that.
Yeah. So
this year, 24.
I signed up after the call, but I was like, look, I'm going home for Christmas, so I'm not starting it yet. But yeah, we started kind of like that first
week of Jan, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was just after, because it was the 8th.
Yeah.
So it was like that first week of January, like that's Christmas and New Year out of the way, come back home, get back to work, kind of like fresh start. And then yeah, we went in.
We did, indeed.
Yeah, we did.
So I want to, like, for everybody out there, so you have lost, in the 5 months of us working together so far, you've lost 40 pounds pretty much on the dot. Like, you started at 208 and you were like 167, something like that. So 40 pounds pretty much on the dot.
Yeah, pounds go over my head still. So
know,
like,
so
I'm
like
a kilograms boy. But I think, yeah, I was 94 or something when we started at my heaviest.
Yep.
Which I knew I was over, but I feel like my body always used to live in this kind of like 4 kilogram fluctuation zone, where it would be like kind of comfortably sit at 92. And if you peaked out, you'd be like, or it'd be kind of like just drop under and approach the 90s, but like the early 90s rather. So to go from 94, and I think I weighed myself this morning and I was 76 point something, which is the lowest I've been on this entire journey. So I don't know if this is just a fluke, because my body's like, it's podcast day, we're going to give you something to report. So
nearly 20 kilos.
Yeah, like that is like
insane,
unreal to me, because like I knew I was carrying a bit of timber. Like I said, I had a year off, so I wasn't doing any activities at all. So I knew I'd kind of like put some winter weight on, but I just didn't realise I had that much in me to lose.
Yeah.
And when you say it like that, like 40 pounds, like I sat down on a call with Jason recently and we were talking about it, and we always check in. And he said to me, like, I'd lost over 30 pounds. And I was like, is that a lot? You know, like, I was chatting to my dad about it the other day, and he was like trying to work it out in stones, and I was like, I can't. Like, I'm tapping out. I can't do
I'm just doing kilos.
Yeah. I was like, it's bad enough they want me to do pounds. I was like, I'm just kilograms. All right. And he was like, just Google 10 pounds of fat. Just Google it. So like we're on the call, and I'm like looking at 10 pounds of fat, and then this big yellow slab of like a blancmange looking thing, and he's like, you've lost over 3 of those. And I was like, it just baffled me, because I wasn't entirely sure where it's come from. But you know, these cheekbones are a result, so it's quite nice.
What's interesting is, because you're quite tall, you were like 6'2", 6'3"?
But yeah, just I think 188, so just shy of 6'3".
Yeah, exactly. So like you're tall. So the kind of, in a way, sort of frustrating thing is, when you look at your before, picture, like the weight was distributed pretty well. So you wouldn't necessarily tell that you were like overweight or anything like that. For somebody 6'6", nearly 6'3", being 94 kilos is kind of, you know, the sort of weight where you're still holding it okay. But like you said, you know, when you sit down at the desk, you know, you kind of like bend over, and it's like you can grab a little bit of that timber, and it's like,
I was trying to, and you feel it whack into the table, whack into the desk, and you're like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
But yeah, that's a lot of body fat that we've dropped. So 40 pounds. of body fat. You obviously got stronger. Like, tell me about the experience in the gym, because like you said, you weren't necessarily a gym bod, but and there were definitely, you had some reservations when it came to training. Well, given that this is an online program, you don't have us in there. What was your mindset like going into the gym, being able to execute the exercises properly with the right form, etc.?
So that was a big worry for me initially, like the fact that predominantly it's an online program. And as I said, like, you know, I didn't really have experience in the gym. Like, I'd been a member of gyms before, I've used gyms before, but you know, like you go in, you have like an hour with a trainer, they'll do you a program, and they'll make you do kind of like 8 to 10 reps for one set, and like, this is how you do it.
Like an induction in the
gym.
gym.
Exactly that, a gym induction, right? So like, beyond that though, no real kind of understanding what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I should be doing it, you know. And I you know, like I did wonder if that would be a suitable match for me. Because you might have noticed I tend to overthink a lot.
Yeah, you do.
And I remember you said that to me in the studio. You're like, because I was questioning, like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I you know, like, where do my shoulders need to be? Do my lats have to be? And you were just like, just don't overthink it. Just do it. And we sat down before my first session, Jason and I. We went through. We had a call. He sent me a video, and he basically broke down all the moves, and he laid out what I need to be doing. So I've obviously got a video that I can see the range of motion, but to hear what the objective is. So, you know, like shoulders back, kind of like scapular depressed, all of that kind of stuff. Just little things for me to make a mental note of. Yeah. Not to obsess over, as much as I might have sometimes, but just do it. Yeah. And he's like, if in doubt, send us a video. Yeah. We can give you pointers. Like, I didn't quite become one of those tripod in the gym people, but I definitely did prop it up a few times. Apologies for my shoddy camera work, but yeah, you know, if I'm doing something and I wasn't quite sure, if it felt wrong, you know, I'd send you the video. And also, like, it's not completely online. There were times where you guys would get me into the studio and I'd be like, right, can I have help with this? And you did, and we worked on stuff together, and it was great. Like, I remember deadlifts were one for me. And again, I don't know if it's because I'm tall or because my hips and my knees are particularly knackered from...
I think also because you obviously had the injury previously, so there's going to be a sort of mental scar in there. So you wanted to make sure that you are doing things right without getting to a point of potentially injuring yourself. So I totally respect and understand that. And actually, you know, when you talk about overthinking, sometimes, you know, you may have been kind of overthinking certain things, but actually you were very cautious, and that's something that is very important, because given the nature of this, like I said, being online, and when you go to the gym for the first time on your own to do a program, you're not really sure what you're doing. So I'd rather somebody takes their time and be cautious in the gym, ask questions, etc., rather than just go all in, injure themselves, and then sit on a bench for you know, God knows how long. Yeah. And we have to manage that. So, and on your point, coming to the studio, like I always say, you obviously are from London, so we, you know, very close to each other. But I always say to people, if you're from the UK and you are willing to come for like a session, do a real assessment in person and stuff like that, by all means, we'll find time to do that. And I always encourage that, like our clients over in the US as well. If you, I know it sounds ridiculous, but, you know, it sounds ridiculous, but actually it's not. We have a lot of people flying from the US to kind of see us if they on a business trip or whatever. They always, guys, I'm going to be in London. Is there any chance? Absolutely. You know, it's an opportunity for us to meet you, do an in-person session, and actually you'll take a lot from that, and you'll feel a lot more comfortable and confident. So
I just want to speak to that point actually. Like the amount of people that I've seen in the gym with personal trainers that are the trainers are on their phones scrolling while people are working. They're not even looking like, and you're there, you're present, and you're not even taking a vested interest in your client. Like from the get-go, I felt like you and Jason were invested in me, and like as much as I was in you and the program, it felt very much like we're not just cashing a check. Like we want you to succeed. We want you to do well. And it genuinely felt like, you know, like you were not taking the time out, because obviously you are, but like it's just genuine like want for me to succeed as your client, as like, I was going to say friends, but like, you know, but do you know what I mean? It felt like that. Like you cared about what I wanted, what I needed, what I was going through, what my concerns were, like, and that mattered to me. So I just wanted to say thank you. And
thank you. So, I really appreciate you saying that, and that, you know, that means a lot. And you know, we are as invested as you or the next client, because the goals that you want to achieve, and that's why I dive into those reasons. You know, I need to understand the person who I'm about to be working with, what really drives them, what is their purpose, what's the goal, you know. Like for you it was health, longevity, and I think the biggest one was self-confidence. And you know, that's such an important thing for pretty much everybody. And I know that guys shy away from talking about that because it's like, you know, it's so important. Like self-confidence, man, literally in life across the board is probably one of the most important things. Like you have to be able to back yourself up, because it's going to affect every single area of your life. And whenever the doubt creeps in, if you can't back yourself up, nobody else will. So I understand that. And for you to, you know, embark on this journey and about to do something that you don't have experience in, etc., it's very important for me to give you as much support and encouragement and accountability and help and, you know, all of that as possible, because I know that if you can go through this, the experience that you gain and the self-confidence that you gain is going to just like go, you know, and that investment is going to 10x. So, and
I definitely felt I got that from you guys. And again, like I say, that was a key part for me, because that I knew that for me, that is what I would need from a trainer to succeed. Like if I've got that from you, then maybe I can find it in me. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like that kind of like relationship between trainer and client, like it is super important. And you and Jason just seem to hit the sweet spot.
Nice. That's really kind. So, thank you very much. Yeah, like I said, goes back to it has to be the right fit. Like both parties have to really kind of feel each other and commit, and then work it out from there. What would you? Are you so? Just jump.
Yeah.
How do you feel right now? 40 pounds of body fat gone. About to do a photo shoot. We've got photo shoot set up for next week.
Yeah,
so that's going to be an interesting thing.
That's so funny.
Did you think that you would do a photo shoot? Like I knew that you would, but
so like I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Like when we first talked about it, and we talked about the process, what it entails. You know, like from the get go, I think you guys said, you know, like at the end we mark it with a photo shoot so you can see your progress. Like, because also you want that, right? You want to see just what you've achieved. And I know I take pictures for you every week and upload them to the app. But that's not quite the same as like,
of course,
having it confronted with you. Like here it is. This is what you have done. You have managed to do this. So like I knew that was there, but I also feel like that was kind of like sneaky motivation on your part, because if you know it's coming, you're not going to be like, well, I'll just sit back and I'll have that Krispy Kreme. Like you're like, no, I've got to take all my kit off and have some pictures to prove it. So I was like, do you not ever think I would do one? Yeah, because like I say, I want the evidence. I want to be able to say, look, man, look what I've done. Like,
but was that something from day one that you were thinking about?
The photo shoot? Yeah.
Okay, good.
Of course, big time.
Do you know what? The reason I'm asking is because a lot of clients sign up to this, and like I said, they just before starting the program, they obviously are in a vulnerable spot. They don't necessarily believe what's possible. They don't know kind of, you know, how this whole thing is going to pan out. So a lot of them don't even know that at some point the goals will change, because that goalpost is constantly moving.
Yeah.
And I give you an example. We have, you know, clients that start off, they just want to, you know, shed off a few pounds, gain a little bit of confidence, feel a little bit better. And then they get to a point where it's like, they look back and it's like, man, I've achieved so much. I've made such a progress. Maybe I'm able to do the photo shoot. And that's when that confidence starts kicking in. That's when they actually, that mindset starts to really shift, and they go like, right, I'm all in. At this point, I'm all in because I can see that I can achieve that. And that's a beautiful thing, you know, because I always say the photo shoot is there for everybody, but not everybody may want to do that. And some people choose not to. That's fair enough. It's not necessarily for everybody. But I think, you know, like you said, it is a good way to celebrate the journey, to really see what you have achieved, to look back. And also it's like a stamp of confidence at the end as well. It's like having the camera, you know, in your face, and you know, but at the same time, it's such a cool day. You know, it's going to sound weird, but I live for those photo shoots because it's such a cool, energy filled, positive, amazing day. You really get to look in the mirror and go like, wow, is that me?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. That's just like a different realization, and that mindset shifts.
Like the idea of not having to do it, it's not compulsory, everyone. So don't worry, you don't have to. But like, it was always like, no, I do want to. I want to do it because I want to have that, like I say, that kind of like proof that I've invested, that I've done it. But also that kind of like, I think you said about confidence, right? Like, there is no way ordinarily I'd be like, just you know, like, let's have a picture with me top off. No. Like holiday photos, I hate looking at holiday photos. Like, not only I'm pale as, right, and I burn. So like, being pale, burnt, and pleasantly plump is not the you know, it's not the trinity that everyone wants. But seeing, and again, it was part of the reason that I signed up, seeing the transformations on your site of people I know, of people I don't, but of all different shapes and sizes. I was like, I don't blame them for getting a photo of that, because it's unreal. And if I can do that, I'm gonna want a permanent bloody record.
Yes.
And yeah, you know, like it does motivate. It's not the sole motivator, but knowing that whether I show people the pictures or not, it's going to be going up on your reels. So, like, put the work in, put the effort in, right?
100%.
And it's funny because also, like, I do my progress photos every week, and some days I'm like, oh, that one looks all right, but I'm like, I don't know if it looks photo shoot worthy.
It's an interesting point, actually.
So, like, and I mean, obviously, I'm just stood in my bathroom in front of the door, so, you know, it's not quite the same. But I'm looking forward to seeing, because I still don't...
You don't see it?
Not that I don't believe it, but, like, like, I can see it, but I think there is still that element of me that's like, is it? Have I? Did I? And I think once I'm confronted with that, there's going to be no doubt. There's no denying. Like, it's there in front of you in black and white, Sam. Like, you have done it.
Yeah,
You might not feel like you have, you might not think that you have, but like it is there.
Yeah.
It's undeniable.
Yeah. It is a strange thing because, like you said, until that photo shoot day, most guys are like, am I ready? Well, I look in the mirror, like I see the change. The problem is that like you see yourself, and especially at this point, knowing that the photo shoot is approaching, like you check yourself pretty much almost all the time.
Every day.
Do you know what I mean?
Every day.
Whether it's conscious or subconscious, you are checking yourself all the
Yeah.
time. And sort of, and yeah, the photos, the progress photos that you take are probably in like the most boring background, timing of the day, etc. You're like, oh, miserable, depleted, this, that, and the other, whatever. Like, yes, but I can see what I need to see. And there are certain things that I'm looking for in those photos, you know. So photo shoot day is yeah, like I said, it's an amazing thing because you start to see yourself in like a completely different light, and you like, wow, seriously, is that me? Have I achieved that? And that, like I said, that is another, like, it's almost, you know, like the way I kind of see it in my head, it's almost like you play a computer game and you get to a point, boom, next level. And after photo shoot, like the confidence and the realization is like next level. So yeah, it's a really cool thing, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really excited about, like you say, leveling up and just seeing that.
Yeah.
Being like,
Yeah.
I can't wait. Do you know what? There was like a turning point for me was when you guys were like, it'll be fine. Like, just when you get nearer to shoot time, take the hair off.
Yeah, sure.
Take the hair off. Get rid of that fuzz, Sam. Like, get rid of it. Get it gone. And I was like, we were getting closer to shoot day, and I think it was like last weekend. I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to do it now. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see. So I got rid of the lot, like all of it. Not all of it, but like, you know.
Yeah.
And the difference, like, because I could see it. I could see it, like, when I still had all my chest hair and stuff, I could see it coming. But the difference between just a week with and without the hair was like,
massive, right?
okay.
Yeah.
Look at this, look at that.
Start seeing the lines that you weren't even aware of.
Yeah. And funnily enough, it was after I took the hair off that people in my jiu-jitsu class, like, we get changed in front of each other all the time, twice a week. So they've seen it, the whole process.
Yeah.
And like, I've had loads of, oh my God, you've lost loads of weight. Which is nice, but there's only so long into the process of trying to build muscle that is the response that you want to hear or are okay hearing. But it was like literally just last week, and we were getting changed, and I was like, oh, and someone was just like, where did that come from? And I was like, wait, what? And they're like, these, and they just ran their hand up and down my chest. So
Your abs and everything.
and I was like, they've been there this whole time. And they're like, so like that was quite nice to have that kind of like, and it's not that it's about external validation, but having your friends, your pals, your peers be like,
absolutely,
wow. And like one of the guys was so impressed with it that he messaged me after, was like, mate, it's unreal. He's like, I've been killing myself for 12 months. I've lost 7 kilograms. He's like, what are you doing? So I've sent him your number.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well,
yeah, you've referred quite a bunch of people, haven't you?
Well,
So
hopefully
nice.
they respond. So, but yeah, so like just having that was like a nice little, okay, yes.
Yeah.
I am doing it. It is working. I'm not, you know, like I'm making the gains and the improvements and the progress that I feel I want to be making.
Yes.
Even if I don't always necessarily feel that it's there. It's like you said to me in the beginning. It's what you say on all your branded merch. Trust the process.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've done this so many times, right? I've never done this. So in terms of experience, understanding who's going to know what's what, it ain't me.
Yeah.
It's you. And I have trusted it. And I feel like that's why I'm pleased with where I'm at. Because even when I doubt myself, I haven't doubted the process.
That's great.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it is showing and it is coming together. So
It's interesting because you said like external validation. And I think, yeah, as much as you're not doing, obviously you're not doing it for that, because you are doing it for the reasons that are, you know, close to your heart and you know, the why and etc. I think there is only so much time that you can go through this process and seeing the process yourself and having us telling you that you are making the process. I think at some point it becomes almost something that you want from your peers, your colleagues, your friends, partner,
completely.
whatever, to actually notice and, you know, give you a little bit of that credit. So I think it's very important, you know, it's very important. And actually that's a big part on the journey when people start noticing, because that's yet another buy-in towards trusting the process more. It's working. People are starting to notice, you know, yes, I've been noticing it on like all along myself and my coaches, etc. But now externally people are seeing, and yeah, that's nice, of course, you know, and it's
great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something that you should be shy away from. It's something that you should really. This is the thing, right? As guys, I think we kind of want to keep everything, you know, low key. You don't want to like show off because it's man. Seriously, who does not want to look good? Who does not want to feel comfortable in their own skin, feel amazing, be happy? Listen, if you look good, you fucking feel good.
Yeah.
And if you feel good, you're a good person to be around. You're a good partner, husband, wife, whatever it may be. You know, you are better at everything. Like I always say, you become the best version of yourself. You do. Like your energy changes, your confidence shifts and changes. People want to be around you more. So there's nothing worse with wanting to look good, you know?
Yeah. And I definitely do want to. So like,
Yeah.
there's like no bones about that. Like, yeah, that was another part of it. Like, obviously, you don't want to make all this effort and make those sacrifices to not have that. Obviously, that's not the main driving focus for me anyway. Like for some people it might be, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, that was just a nice, happy byproduct for me. But one that I'm super pleased and grateful for, like, you know, and like I say, for people to start noticing, it's almost like a catch-22 thing. Like people start to notice, it gives you more confidence. More confidence makes you, like you said it all yourself. Like it's like self-perpetuating cycle. It just makes you want to do it more and like.
Totally.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to put too much value on external validation, but yeah, it is a nice little aside to be like,
of course,
cool. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm validating myself, you're validating it, but like to hear it from other people,
I think it's important, 100%. And you know, it's almost like you almost kind of in a weird way expect it because you've put all the work in. So you want to be sort of assured by others, the people close to you, because it doesn't really matter from, you know, like if you get a compliment from a stranger, it's like, yeah, that's fantastic, like that's great.
Yeah.
But the people, you know, close to you, people that you spend the most time with, like it's nice for them to notice that. So yeah. No, 100%. Do you know what? I wanted to touch on something because, like we said at the beginning, I think you are your own worst critic sometimes when it comes to certain things. So what would you say, how did you find, and first of all, when you signed to the program and when you kind of were sort of, you know, on the program, did you share with others, with people, with your friends, colleagues, whatever, what you are doing, why you're doing that, that you signed up, or did you keep it sort of?
No, I was really upfront about it. Mostly because I felt like for me, I had to be, just because I can't be asked with trying to make excuses. I don't understand why you would. I was like, the easier I can make it for me,
I love that,
the more likely I am to succeed at it. Because I was like, if I'm just like, ducking out, and I'm like, no, I'm not coming to the pub because I've got gym at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm not drinking because I'm not wasting empty calories. It's like, you might think I'm a boring old fart, but it's not going to be forever. But this is what is important for me, and I need you to understand that.
I love that, Sam. I'm so pleased that you touched on that, because the amount of times that we've had clients on this journey that, like, halfway through, we're like, okay, there is something that is not adding up here. And we jump on a call and we, dig in. And yeah, we get to a point where it's like, and I'm like, okay, have you been fully honest and transparent with like the closest people around you, i.e., your partners, your family, etc., and then your friends and colleagues? Because that can really hinder the process, and a lot of the time self-sabotage comes from that, because people feel like, oh, I shouldn't really be talking about that, because in social situations I'm that person that never says no to a drink, and I don't want to. It's almost like an identity shift, and when it's clearly something that you do because you feel others expect of you. So you put yourself to a second plan, or, and you kind of go with it. So we've had many clients that were doing great progress, but when it came to a point where, people started noticing, they started asking questions. And when it came to, I don't know, saying no to a pint or whatever it may be, they just like crumbled. And that's where they started self-sabotaging and not making that progress. So I think it's so, so important.
It's not easy.
No.
I've not found it easy. But at the same time, it's not just been like, it's not a problem. Like, I haven't been out on a Thursday. So like jiu-jitsu, post-Thursday jiu-jitsu, we always go to the local pub for just like a pint or two. I've not done that in like in 5 months, because I was like, I don't want to sit around and drink, and I don't want to be super tired, because I need to get home and get to the gym at 6. Which is just how I have to factor it in for my day. I've tried doing it after work, and I never thought I would be a get up and go to the gym at 6 person ever.
Nobody is, man.
Like I said, I worked in theatre for the better part of 15 years. Like, my days would start at, like, I'd wake up at 2 in the afternoon. So like, I've always been like a night owl. So getting up for a 6 o'clock gym session is just like, I would never have imagined it. But I had to work out what worked for me.
Priorities shift, right?
I had to work out what worked for me, and I would try going after work, but I was like, I've just spent 9 hours sat on a chair in front of a screen. The last thing I want to do is fight for a machine with everyone else that's just done the same.
Peak time,
in a mood. Then you don't get home until 9 o'clock, later than that sometimes. And then you've got to try and cook your dinner, or even if you've meal prepped it, you still got to wait for it to cook. So I was like, no, I just need to get up, go, get it done, do my work, then the rest of the day is mine. And it was it was tough, because I love going out for a little post-training pint on a Thursday, but like I said, it's not forever. It's just for the moment. And if there was a big, we did it every week. If it was a big event, unfortunately I'm not there for it, but like, we've got our 30th anniversary of the club. So I 100% probably would have gone along and had one or two, because, course, it's a special occasion. We can factor that in. We can work around it, right?
Totally.
And that, like I was saying earlier, that's the trade-off. That's what you have to do. You have to kind of like pick your battles.
For sure. I think, priorities have to shift, and you need to understand that, yes, there will be sacrifices that you have to make, but in order to achieve anything in life, you have to
can't have it all.
You can't have it all. Exactly. You can't have the cake and eat it. Sometimes
I'd love to eat a bit of cake, but no, you can't.
So okay, that's very interesting. I like that. So what would you say is like the biggest highlight of this whole process so far, and like the biggest low that you found yourself, or what was the biggest struggle?
Biggest highlight, Do you know what? Like, I think for me, the biggest highlight or the biggest personal win has been discovering that, do you know what? I'm not as, I don't want to say lazy, but, you know, I am going to say lazy. I'm not as lazy as I think I am. Like, the fact that I've been able to achieve this at all, when you know, like I said to you, my biggest concern was me, because I know what I'm like, or at least I know what I thought I was like. But if I was like how I thought I was, I would never have been able to achieve what I have. And sometimes, like, I do have to stop and sit back and say, hang on, Sam, like, look at what you've done. Just think about it objectively just for a minute. Like, you've done really fucking well.
Yeah,
like,
I love that, man. I so love that. That's so great for you to say that, Sam, because, like I said, that confidence was an issue at the beginning. So for you to sit here and say that and give yourself credit and say it out loud is massive.
I think it's that. I think it's like I need to give myself the props where it's due. Like, I have worked hard, I have made sacrifices, and it has paid off, and I am capable. So, like, that for me is by far the biggest win. Like,
I love that.
Getting shredded and getting hench was obviously, like, on paper that's what I'd love, but actually the key takeaway for me was, like, proving to myself inadvertently, like, that I do have the metal.
Okay, perfect. I really love that, man. That's a huge one.
That was my biggest win, biggest personal win of the week, of the entire program. Yeah, just that kind of, like, self-belief that I didn't necessarily think I had.
Yeah.
Like,
awesome.
Yeah. It's been pleasantly surprising.
I'm so happy about that, man. Because that's exactly, do you know what? That's exactly what I secretly wanted for you. Because I knew, like, you know, we spoke on that first strategy call, and we've kind of, you could say, identified that was one of the obstacles for you, you know, to achieve those goals. And
me getting in my own way. Yeah,
exactly. I love that. So on the flip side, what was like the toughest, or I don't know, what was it? Yeah, the hardest thing.
The hardest thing. I think for me, the hardest thing was always going to be, like, I think the social situations.
Yeah.
Or staying strong within them, or choosing not to go to them, or just not putting myself in certain situations.
Yeah.
That was tough. Like, I'm a sociable boy. I like to hang out with my pals. Not even necessarily drinking or eating, but just, like, you know, like, even things where you'd just be out, and sometimes it would mean that I would pack, like, a packed lunch of stuff and go along. So, you know, like, they'd be sat out, we'd go somewhere for lunch, and I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to come for lunch, I'm going to eat before, and I'll come out. And you get there, and then everything's already been discussed and chatted about, and you're trying to play catch up, and you're just like, oh, they've already talked about this, they've already talked about that. So sometimes I did feel like I missed out in that sense. But like I said, it's not for keeps. It's not, you know, like, it's not forever. And think about what I've gained by doing that, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, like, it's unquantifiable, the gains I've made, and I don't just mean, like, physically. Like I said to you, you know, like, the kind of discovery of what I am capable of, and, like, the mental fortitude I think it takes to do some of it. Like, I never thought I had that. Also, yeah, not having a lot. Like, I can't wait to have, like, a nice beer. I was like, but gin and slim line. Like, if I am going to have a drink, that's been my go-to. But again, like, you make compromises, right? Like, if you're gonna drink, are you gonna have that drink with all the carbs and all the fat and all the rest of it? So again, like informed choices.
Yes.
Talking about eating and drinking, yeah, I think that has also been the hardest thing. Is as someone that never tracked calories, or like in my head, I'd be like, oh well, I'm eating this because it's healthy. So whether it's like wholemeal pasta, wholemeal bread, like have some eggs and some avocados, like the sheer volume of food that I was eating before.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I don't know if it's being a kid of the 80s, like, growing up, my mum and dad didn't have much money. So like you ate what was on your plate.
Yeah. There's probably a bit of that.
Yeah, like, but even still, like my portion sizes as well. Like my boyfriend always tells me, he's like, that's like twice as much food as you need.
Yeah.
So like some things are just ingrained, or they were at least. But like now, understanding what, like the very makeup of the food that you're eating, and how that affects you and your needs and stuff is, again, like a great trade-off of that. Like, so, without this whole process, I wouldn't have been able to understand that to the degree that I do. And obviously, like, I'm not an expert, but it's stuff that I would never have considered before, thought about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's been the hardest. Like, it's the flip of the win, I guess, is that kind of like in staying strong, sometimes you have to decide to take yourself away from situations that you do want to be in, that you do feel like you're missing out on.
Absolutely.
But just don't lose sight of the goal and the reasons and the whys. And, they will become apparent in time. Like,
yeah, totally. Listen, I don't think it's coincidence that people who are fit and healthy and look after themselves strategically, maybe at this point subconsciously, don't put themselves in situations where they know that their values at this point are going to be compromised. Because I think ultimately it comes down to your values. If you value your health, your well-being, your mental health, physical health, etc., like we all know what's right, what's not. Sometimes we just tend to avoid making decisions because we don't want to face the consequences, like we said before. Yeah. But also to your point about food portions, I think it's, people have this weird misconception about food that healthy food does not contain calories. Therefore, if you're making healthy choices,
can eat as much
you can eat as much as you want. And, listen, like everything contains calories, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Yes, make healthy choices, but also understand that caloric value of those foods is going to affect, whether you are getting closer or further away from your goal. So that's, I think, important.
I think there was another thing, actually, that I've just having spoken about. My boyfriend has just reminded me. So, like, I think in the beginning, people not understanding it, what you're doing or why you're doing it, but kind of how it affects their routine.
Absolutely.
I remember, like, again, so like when you start telling people you're not coming to the bar or you're not doing whatever, like the shock and surprise on people's faces sometimes. Or there was a time when we were flying over to I can't remember, I think we were going over to see my boyfriend's parents in Ireland, and we're in the restaurant waiting for our flight, and I'm like trawling the menu, totting up the calories. They don't give you any macros, but at least you've got the calories, you can try and work it out, right? And so I'm trying to put things in manually, and then he was so frustrated. He was like, "It's gonna get cold, put your phone down." And it's like, I need to do it now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I never will. Like, I need to take my picture. I need to put it in. Then I can eat it. Like, if I'm okay with that, I need you to be. And I think that was a struggle. I think, like, remembering that not everyone's going to be on board or understand, and it's not that they don't want to or they don't care. They it just doesn't fit in with what
100%.
they understand. And it's funny because in the beginning, I think my boyfriend was very much like, it wasn't unsupportive at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to sound like it was unsupportive. It wasn't at all. But I just don't think it was kind of like on a level that he kind of like understood. But it's funny because over the course of the process, he started tracking his calories, and we've got a whiteboard in the kitchen whenever we cook anything, we write down how much it weighs, and
nice.
And he knows if he's doing stuff for me, or if I'm on the way home and I'm like, oh, can you chuck me a chicken breast in the air fryer?
Nice.
He'll write it down, or he'll text me the weight so I can put it in.
That's cool.
So like, people will come around, people will understand, people will even look to you to kind of be like, oh, well, it is working. Mm-hmm. I can see, like, what is it you're doing? How are you making these changes? What's going on with that? Like, so it kind of like
it's a ripple effect, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because this is something that pops up all the time. I always say, first of all, yes, people will not understand it from the beginning, and that's why I always encourage people to be fully honest and transparent about your why, about the goal and the reason, because if they understand that, they will at least try to understand the process. If you are being secretive about it, then they're like, what are you doing? Like this is what's this stupid thing that you are doing? It's, it's annoying. So number one is that, but then yes, absolutely. And I always say that to clients, is like, at some point on this journey, you will get to a point where there's going to be a lot of responsibility on you as that person of influence in your circle. Because like you said, people will start seeing that it's working. Yes, at first they'll be like, what are you doing? They'll try to dismiss it, oh, come on, you can't have a pint, or you're choosing your food or whatever, like it's bland, boring, this, that, whatever. Doesn't have to be, but sometimes. And then you stick to your guns and you commit to it and you do it because you know why you are doing it. And then it gets to a point where people are like, okay, you've clearly changed. You look pretty amazing. Like, what are you actually doing? How does that work? You know what I mean? And at that point, the responsibility is on you to actually start answering questions, start educating people, and start helping others. And this is exactly why it's so nice to see that ripple effect. It then kind of goes over, to your closest ones, your friends, family, your partners, whatever, and then that it spreads, that net spreads, which is a beautiful thing. So yeah, I love that. That's such a good point, man. Love it. So lastly, would you say you are in the best shape of your life?
I would, which surprises me. Like, I'll be 42 this year, and to think that I am literally in the best shape of my life is ridiculous. But like, it's not something I would ever have imagined possible. But that just goes to show you, right? Like, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. There was obviously something there for me that thought like maybe there's a sliver of hope that I can do it, right? And that's all it takes. Yes. That's all it takes. It's just that little kind of questioning, can I? And yeah, you can is the answer. You can, all right? I think, like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been, and I'm gonna get better.
I love that. Yeah, this is actually something, we briefly touched on before. So obviously this is like, we're not just putting an end to it, and finishing with a photo shoot. Like you said, the goals have pretty much evolved and changed over this whole period. So what's next for Sam? What do you want? Like, what are the goals? You clearly thought about that, what you want next, and how you want it to.
In terms of the program?
Just in general, like your goals. Because hopefully, so what I'm trying to say is, you're not just getting to a photo shoot condition, have the photos, and go back to where you started.
Yeah.
Like that's not on the cards.
No, and I've said this to people. Like I've get your words out. I've been quite open and upfront about this whole process from the beginning. And one of the things I've said to people is like, when I get to the end point, like at the end of the 6 months or whatever, I won't be just like, oh, I've achieved this. No, I'll just go back to like as it was before. It is a change, not just in your lifestyle, but just like within you as a person, right? So like, I will still be going to the gym now. Like, I will still be like trying to make those choices that are not going to have massive repercussions down the line. I'm still going to go into things thinking about, you know, what's best for me in terms of, you know, X, Y, Z. Like, this whole process has like flicked a switch, and I don't see how I won't be able to apply that or continue using it. But it doesn't just go away at the end of the 6 months. Like, that's in there now. It's
the habits that you've built, acquired, and it stays with you. So I love that.
What is it like? You do something for long enough, it becomes habit becomes routine, blah blah blah. But I mean, people laugh and like, oh, it's such a cliche. They're cliches because they're true people.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely feel like that mentality or whatever it is that you guys have helped to ingrain in me, that I've also ingrained in myself, right? Because I'm the one that's been doing it.
I love that. Sorry to jump in. But this is like, for me, I recognize it straight away. Like, your language is so different. Like, you back yourself up. You start saying like, you guys, but then no, I've achieved that, and I love that because you have. So, you know, that confidence is there, and I really freaking love it, man. I love it. It's great. It's great to hear, Sam. Like, you back yourself up. You give yourself that well-deserved credit. So, well done, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Love it. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've got to shoot in a few days. I know you're tired because you like, everything is a bit low, you know, in terms of food, macros,
I can't
calories.
wait for a refeed, I'll tell you.
Refeed is coming soon. You're looking amazing. The
Thanks,
photos, everything is going to be great. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And I do genuinely mean it, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Like, exceeded my expectations. Not that they were low by any stretch of an imagination, but
the bar wasn't very high.
To see you transform not only physically, but mentally, mindset-wise, and like I said, gain so much confidence and really credit yourself all the time is a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's
Thanks,
from
mate.
bloke to bloke, man. Respect, massive respect. I love it.
Well, I didn't do it alone. I did do it, but I didn't do it alone. So big thanks to you and Jason.
You did the job. Thank you very much, buddy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.